Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Megacast. I'm Dave Scott. He is Tyler Keefe. What is the Megacast? Where are we? What's going on? Let's take a minute to explain. We also want to welcome all of you that are listening across all of our outlets. Because the Megacast isn't, Tyler, it's not a radio broadcast. It's not a radio television simulcast. The Megacast is all over the place. It's on radio, it's on TV, it's on social media, and it's growing by the second, and we couldn't be more thrilled. And Tyler, now we have your alma mater involved in the Megacast as well. Big announcement today.
Yeah, it's a huge new step for the Megacast and for coverage of the coronavirus outbreak in the local area.
All right, so let's explain what's going on. First of all, I'm Dave Scott. If you're watching on TV, that guy over there is Tyler Keefe. We're in our Lakes FM studios, which when we start the show, we always get out our wipes and make sure that everything is good and clean. If you're listening on the radio, you can't see this. If you're watching on any of our video outlets, you will see that we make sure we are 6 feet apart. Our area is well sanitized, and this program is here to get you all the local information going on surrounding this coronavirus crisis, and it is becoming more and more of a crisis each and every day, and right here in our own backyard. So the Megacast today is on 89.3 WBLD, and we are also on 88.1 The Biff. So, Tyler, it's your alma mater. Really good to have the Biff, and we just want to thank Ron and everybody at the Biff for making that happen today.
Yeah, it's another great community radio station that's helping us expand our coverage on this into more municipalities locally and give more local information to the communities that need it and aren't going to get it from local news and national news.
So you can listen on the radio, 88.1 or 89.3 FM around the Bloomfield, West Bloomfield, Birmingham, generally the Lakes area of Oakland County. We've got most of it covered. We're also on TV today on Civic Center TV, Channel 15 for many of you, Channel 99 and AT&T. And if you not happen to be in that television service area, all you got to do is go to civiccentertv.com, civiccentertv.com, and tune in. Now, what we've been doing here every day is talking to the local officials, the fire officials, the police officials, the elected officials, the school districts, anyone that has local information about what's going on with the coronavirus, and we share that with you. And in a couple of minutes, if we get all of our wires connected properly, we'll be talking to Pat Watson, Superintendent of the Bloomfield Hills School District, and we'll chat with him and find out what's going on there. Pat, we all know Pat in Bloomfield, West Bloomfield, and all around. Pat Watson was recently the principal of West Bloomfield High School and now is in the new role as the superintendent of the Bloomfield Hills Schools. Education clearly on the top of everyone's mind right now. Are the kids going to stay out? What's going on? How are we dealing with all this? What are the school districts doing to serve our local communities? And let me tell you, they have been absolutely heroic. We'll also talk with Greg Flynn, the West Bloomfield Fire Chief, and Mike Morin, the Bloomfield Township Fire Chief. We wanted to get them on together via Zoom. We're having some internet problems. Tyler, I'm not surprised because the internet's starting to get all jammed up during the day because everyone is home and online and Zooming and streaming and watching all kinds of services on the internet. And our internet today is kind of jammed up.
Yeah, it's surprising, but it's also not surprising because everybody, like you said, everybody is using it, and everyone's tuning into the Megacast online at civiccentertv.com, lakesfm.com.
All right, that's it. So Greg Flynn, Mike Morin coming up in the next little bit. We're going to keep an eye and possibly check in here quickly with the governor's press conference. I don't think she's got a major announcement today, but if we don't get to her because of technical reasons, we certainly will record it, keep an eye on it, and we're watching that. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment, and we're going to try to get connected with Pat Watson, Superintendent of Schools in Bloomfield Hills. You are watching and listening to the Megacast today on 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 The Biff, Civic Center TV, civiccentertv.com, and we also invite you to watch online today via Facebook. We have a Facebook partner every day, and today that is the West Bloomfield Township Clerk's Office, so you can watch there as well. We're going to take a quick break. Tyler, we'll be right back.
Uncle Dan?
Mom? Dad?
If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside. Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over.
As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher,
I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the majority of citizens are asked to stay home unless working in a critical workforce. This means that at-home utilities are going to be used significantly more than usual. It is very important that we maintain these utilities and keep them working. This means following a few simple rules. Do not flush anything down your toilet that doesn't belong. This includes Kleenex, wipes, food products, and anything that you wouldn't normally flush. This can cause a backup or blockage, preventing your sewer system from working properly. This applies to your sink as well. Following these steps can keep our sewer system clean and operating at full capacity. Keeping you connected in West Bloomfield during the coronavirus outbreak, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
All right, welcome back to the Megacast. We are so happy today to be on 88.1 The Biff from Bloomfield Hills Schools, and we thank the whole crew there at Bloomfield Hills Schools. We also are on 89.3 Lakes FM in West Bloomfield, Civic Center TV Channel 15, Civic Center TV Channel 99, and if you want to watch online, it's really easy. Just go to civiccentertv.com, and you will see the video player in the upper right-hand corner of the page, and just click on that, and you can see everything that's going on in our studios. We wanted to have him on via Zoom. We put a lot of work into it, but the internet is just not doing very well today. So we're so glad to have him on the phone. Joining us now, the new superintendent of schools at Bloomfield Hills, Pat Watson. Good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you?
We're doing pretty good. To be honest, it's a little crazy. Obviously, what am I to complain about? I can't get Zoom to work. You've got an entire school district, your school district that's kind of brand new to you, and you're dealing with it in a crisis situation, but we're all getting through. How you doing, Pat? How's it going?
Doing well. It's been an interesting couple months. I came in with the idea that, great, I'll have a 90-day plan. I can meet a lot of new people. Have the ability to reconnect with dozens upon dozens of former students that either now work in Bloomfield Hills School District or live here and have children. And then it's kind of changed a little bit, but that's okay. I'm up for the challenge.
Well, I know you are, and for those of us that know you so well, and the amazing, and I mean amazing job that you did as a principal at West Bloomfield High School, we're also very happy that you're in this new role in Bloomfield Hills. And let me tell you, folks in Bloomfield Hills, you have an incredible new superintendent. And Pat Watson, I know you're up to the job as we go through these extremely challenging times. So good luck. First of all, we're really glad we're on the Biff today. That worked out really well. That was kind of a last-minute impromptu thing, but good to get the word out there a little bit more. And tell us how things are going for your students. What are you doing to stay connected with your students while the buildings are closed?
That's a good question. So we've done multiple different things. I know for me personally, being new, I wanted to be able to reach out to all the students. So working with the TV production studio, we came up with this idea, where in the world is Watson? And so I've done some virtual travels. I know.
I'm great. Where you can, I love it. See, that's what's so great about you. You can take a crisis and find out a way to make it, a little bit easier to swallow.
So trying to. So we've done, 5, 7 episodes of that show, and then at the end there's a chance to win some swag and things like that. And then last week I piloted something a little bit different, using some different tools. I was able to kind of do a K-5 program, and the K-5 program started with just almost like a mini lesson followed by kind of like a mission for the day. So one mission was to write a letter to your future self about how you're being kind to others during this time of the pandemic. Another mission was to save the animals from planet Zork and create a spaceship and do that. Another one shared the 3 little pigs. We all know the story very well. And then the mission that day was to create your future house and what would be in it. And then last week on Friday, I left them with the last mission, which was to create a vision board for your future. And so kind of done that. With our teachers, we've kind of tried to allow our parents to get some sense of normalcy. And during the past 2 weeks, we've really reached out to districts, not just locally, but on the national level, to kind of benchmark what are the best practices with online and e-learning. And coming back after spring break next week, we feel we have something that's on par, if not better, than any other school in the country with what we're going to be doing online.
Well, I mean, the online experience that you and your superintendents and in the neighboring communities that we serve have put together has been nothing short of miraculous. I mean, and the speed at which you were all able to react and get these assets online is, I mean, it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, the quick shift that's had to take place. And, it's also been interesting to see what other states are doing. Illinois I found to be really interesting. Their Department of Education a couple years ago gave them permission to have, I think it's 5 virtual learning days per year at the school's discretion. So think of, state of Michigan, we might have a snow day, we might have a snow day. If we had the ability to say, you know what, the weather forecast looks like it could be challenging for tomorrow, so at 3 p.m., we're going to have a virtual learning day tomorrow. Everyone stay home, and here's what you'll do. So in the state of Illinois, they've been able to plan for that the past couple of years, which has put them further ahead than the state of Michigan when it comes to virtual learning. And the other thing that I've noticed out of the state of Illinois is that the Department of Education has provided some really clear guidance about how days count, what you can do, what you can't do, and what continuing instruction should look like. So I found that to be really interesting as well.
Yeah, well, we hope we come out of all this with some new skill sets, new opportunities, and that we learn some new things that we were just forced into doing through the coronavirus. But talking about eligibility and if all this is going to count, debate certainly going on in Lansing. The governor said that's something that she can't just put paper to pen on. She's got to get cooperation from the legislature. And I think when the schools are closed around the state of Michigan, everyone was thinking, well, maybe we'd be out of this very soon, but it looks like that may not be the case as we continue to see the number of coronavirus cases in the state continue to climb. So 2 questions. A, do you have any thoughts about when school might reopen or if it will reopen, and your thoughts on where we are with regard to getting accreditation for students for the work they're doing right now?
Sure. Our expectation and the way we're planning is school's done for the year as far as brick and mortar school. So our whole focus this past 2 weeks has been when we get back from spring break, and our spring break is next week, what plan can we have in place that really continues learning for our students and moves them forward? And so that's been our focus. If we happen to go back at the end of April or mid-May, that would be great. But we can't plan for that because then we'll be behind, and we don't want to be behind. As far as students moving forward, obviously the legislators need to make that decision. I don't see any way in the realm of possibility students couldn't move forward. I mean, you were going to graduate this year, you're not going to graduate, and if you're in kindergarten, you're not moving forward. I mean, everyone's just frozen for a year. So let's be honest, we all know that everyone's going to move forward, the seniors are going to graduate, and then the other thing we're really focused on is when we do come back to school next year in the fall, if we have students that have gaps in knowledge, what are we going to do to make sure we bring all of our students, if they're already up to speed, so that they're not academically behind their peers? And so that's been a big topic of conversation as well.
Yeah, and Pat Watson, Superintendent of the Bloomfield Hills Schools, thank you for your honesty with the people, because you just said that school is done for the year, likely in a brick and mortar standpoint. I think we all get that. And I think even though the legislature hasn't passed anything, there's no way that our lawmakers in Lansing are going to take senior accreditation away from seniors as they're getting ready to hopefully go to Michigan State, or who knows where next year. It just doesn't seem realistic, but it's not been certified yet. It's not been guaranteed yet. But I appreciate your candor in both of those subjects.
Yeah, well, it's not been guaranteed. I mean, think about this. what other decision can be made? And I don't know why it's taking this long, but what other decision can be made? We're just going to freeze everyone where they're at, so everyone has to do a full school year again next year? Or do they just come back for 2 months and then they go on to whatever grade and everyone matriculates? I mean, to me, it's just common sense. Somebody needs to be in charge. Somebody needs to make a decision and then move on. So I'm looking forward and hopeful that will happen sometime soon. But as I always told people, even in my former district, hope is not a plan. And so I know right now, hope isn't something we're using. We're simply planning. School's going to be out. How do we move kids forward? What are the top districts? What are they doing online nationally? How can we mimic that, leverage what we have, and then be a step above everyone else? And we firmly believe that our plan that we're rolling out after spring break meets all those needs, not just locally, but on a national level as well.
Again, well said. Hope is not a plan. No, you're right. You're right. We need to have a strategy to move forward. I know your strategy in Bloomfield Hills, as it is in the other school districts, has to extend beyond learning. There are a lot of people suffering. If things weren't handled the way they are, there could be a lot of students with nothing to do, free time in their hands, and getting into trouble. And then there are also people in every community, even the wealthiest communities in the state, that need help with food. How are you addressing those issues?
So our food service has done a phenomenal job. And so as part of the government program and then what we've agreed to within Oakland County is, we're using our high school as kind of the main point to give out, the meals during the day. You don't need to be a student of Bloomfield Hills School District. You can be from anywhere. No one's checking ID. If you simply come up and need food, you're able to get food. And I know that's been a really, really important part. And especially since Detroit had to shut down for, some time because they were having some concerns. So we've actually had families that have traveled down Telegraph to come and get food here to make sure that they're able to feed their families. So I'm really, you talk about the people on the front lines, whether it's our doctors, our nurses, our food service employees are right there. They're coming in every single day to make sure that families who need food can be fed. And I think that's just awesome.
Yeah, I think it is awesome. And we saw over the weekend a lot of people in the communities coming out to hospitals and other areas in their cars, driving by at shift changes to salute the workers and the efforts of our healthcare workers. And I don't know that that's compliant under our current ruling from the governor, but people did it anyway. And whether it was compliant or not, it certainly was, moved me, and I'm sure it moved a lot of other people that saw it over the weekend. And I know, even though we can't come out and give everybody a hug right now, that I hope you feel and the folks that are working through this feel the virtual hug that we're all getting, because we are in this thing together, and it's hard. So, and how is the staff that is coming in? How are they doing? And, is it tough for them? I'm sure it is. How are they coping?
Everyone's doing as best as possible. We're really trying to have staff work from home as much as possible. I know in the main office building it's myself and one other person that comes in every day. Occasionally somebody else will pop in if they need to get something, but people need to listen to the governor. People need to stay at home. I know even in my own house, my kids are getting anxious. My son, who's 23, wants to see his girlfriend. And I'm like, well, that's why they invented FaceTime for things like this. But she's not coming over, my friend. And you're not leaving. You're on lockdown as well.
How's everything? Go ahead. I was just going to ask, how's everything at the Watson house? How are you doing, your family? I could just tell you, and I am fortunate enough to be able to get out and come to the studio every day, and there's only 2 or 3 of us here to make this all happen. But how are you guys doing, and how does this feel now that we're several days into it?
For me, on a personal level, I don't know if it's really sunk in. I'm really focused on making sure my family's safe, they're taken care of, and then that our students and parents in this community get what they need to move forward educationally. So, to be honest, I haven't had a lot of time to really reflect on what's going on nationally. For me, that will come at a different time when things have maybe settled down, if they ever settle down. But I've always been someone that's been told you focused on the task at hand. And the task at hand is my family okay? Yes, okay. How can I best serve our students in our community to move forward learning so that the parents have some relief at home and our students continue to learn. Because learning, so often education, we think, well, assignments plus grades equal learning. And that's not really true. Learning for the sake of learning is something that gets lost along the way. You think back to early elementary school. We don't give grades to students, and they're anxious to come to school. And they learn, and they want to impress their teacher and work hard. And they get a satisfactory, and they don't even look at the report card. We lose some of that as we move forward. And so we're trying to gain that back. And one way to do that is you don't just give students something to complete. You give them something to create. You don't just have questions that they simply answer. You have questions that they actually have to reflect upon and do something with. And so we're really looking at the instructional piece and doing that a little bit different as we move forward as well.
All right, Pat Watson is with us. He is the new superintendent of schools in Bloomfield Hills. I'm Dave Scott. Tyler Keefe in the studio. He's really working hard. He's not getting a word in edgewise here because he's working so hard keeping the show running. So I thank him for his fine work over there. Joining us in a couple of minutes, Greg Flynn, the West Bloomfield Fire Chief, and Mike Morin, the Bloomfield Township Fire Chief. We'll talk about how the county has set up regions to help respond to what is going on right now with the coronavirus. Pat Watson, you just left the role as principal at West Bloomfield High School. Eric Pace has now been announced as the new principal. I thought I'd give you an opportunity to congratulate him on the air.
Oh, absolutely. I was excited to hear that Mr. Pace was going to be the new principal. He's great. His relationships to students are second to none. He's also, a lot of people don't know, extremely innovative. He likes to think outside the box. And, we kind of all have the same mantra, which is, find a way or make a way. And the idea is you start with yes, and once you start with the word yes, you can usually figure out what needs to happen. And the other thing we always talked about is in education, we need to move from yes, but to simply that word again, yes. So often we're presented with a new challenge, and you hear someone speak, and you go, Dave, I hear what you're saying, yes, but, and then what follows after. Instead of, Dave, I hear what you're saying, yes. We can do that. We can find a way or we can make a way. And that's something that also, that type of forward thinking is something I want to bring to Bloomfield Hills as well as we move forward in this process.
I know you will. Yes and, not yes but, or just yes. So I get it. It's hard. I mean, it's so easy to say yes but. I mean, it really is. So I appreciate that. So you are talking to Ken in Walled Lake, and Dr. Hill in West Bloomfield, and I'm sure they're talking to you. We have 3 superintendents right here in our service area that all know each other very well. I assume you guys are going to be keeping in touch and sharing notes.
We are, but I've really, besides my base that I have here, I've really reached out to people I know. I've been fortunate enough to meet over the years nationally. And really get some great information from them. Like earlier this morning, I was on a WebEx meeting with the school district in Florida, Collier. I've had several conversations with Shonda DeMarco, who's a superintendent in New Jersey, and Tenafly, one of the top districts in the country. And just reaching out to people on a national level. I talked to so many people in Illinois, I almost feel like I live there now. And just seeing what people are doing on a national level. Because as we're looking to roll out our new program, like I said, after spring break, we wanted to benchmark it against some of those that are the best in the country to see, are we really hitting the mark? Are we going to fall short? Or are we kind of exceeding where they're at? And in every case, we're either hitting the mark or exceeding what other national, well-recognized schools are doing. So I'm really excited to roll that out after spring break. Our spring break is next week. And I know for a lot of parents, they're camping in their backyard, at least that's their plan, or they're traveling they have a place up north, and I know some have rented an RV and are, going to travel around and simply stay in the RV, but do something different during this pandemic.
Well, we wish all of them safety, and we know that people will use good judgment as they do that. And I'm really glad to hear that you're reaching out across the country. The communities you're talking about, Illinois, certainly the East Coast, Florida, South Florida in particular, and now, unfortunately, Detroit and Oakland County. We are on the front line of the coronavirus. We got to scoot along, Pat Watson. Anything you want to wrap up with, though, just any thoughts that you have that might be useful for the community at large?
I would say as you interact with people, remember well before this pandemic, that every person you meet has a struggle that you don't know about, something they're dealing with you don't know about. So as much as possible, this is the time really to find and dig deep and make sure that even though we're all stressed out, we're all frustrated, we all have now additional struggles and additional norms, that you treat everyone with dignity and respect. To me, that is a cornerstone of everything you should be doing. That's my opinion.
Well said, Pat Watson. Listen, next time we'll get the internet to work better. We want to keep in touch because I like your words. There's no why we like having you on, and in addition to that, I just think that communication is so important, especially now while we're all disconnected. And I think that communication locally in our own local communities is a really great place to start. That's why we're here at work today, and I appreciate all your support, and in particular the support of having your radio station with us and a whole lot more. Good to talk to you, and best of health to you and your family. And again, we will be keeping you on our short list and likely chatting with you again real soon.
Sounds good. Take care, my friend.
Thank you very much. Pat Watson, the super, and I hit the wrong control. All these years in broadcasting, and I hit the wrong control. Pat Watson, the superintendent of schools in Bloomfield Hills, new superintendent, former principal at West Bloomfield High School. Man, that guy's going to do a great job there, and it's inspiring, Tyler Keefe, to hear from him this morning. I'm feeling a little better.
Yeah, it's great to know from my standpoint as an alum of the district that they're in really good hands with Pat Watson, and all of our local school districts. You know, we talked about Pat's relationship with Dr. Hill and with Ken Gutman over in Walled Lake, and all the local school districts in our area are in really good hands right now. They're doing great things in really tough times, and that really shows just how great of an education system we have in the Bloomfield area.
Right, and and making sure the kids stay connected, working on a program, thinking forward, and then feeding anybody that needs to be fed, happening in all of our schools here in the area. And just make note of that if you're hungry. These schools are a really good place to go right now. No ID, they're not going to check in. They don't care if you're from West Bloomfield, Pontiac, Southfield, Detroit, doesn't matter. If you need a meal, a good place to go, if you can't find it anywhere else, is your local school. And they all have information on all of their websites. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in a minute. We're going to talk to Mike Morin, the Bloomfield Township Fire Chief, and Greg Flynn. I think we got all of our Zoom stuff working. So we will be back and check in with them via Zoom. Thank you for tuning in to the Megacast. We are live today on 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 The Biff, Civic Center TV across much of the area. That's Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. Big shout out to the West Bloomfield Township Clerk, Debbie Binder, who has put us on her Facebook page today. Much appreciated. And if you're listening or watching there, we thank you very much for tuning in. And, of course, real easy to go to civiccentertv.com and you can watch the whole broadcast. Take a quick break and we'll check in with our lead fire officials in our area when we return. You are listening to and watching the Megacast.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I am a Michigan State Trooper, entrusted to keep sacred the traditions of my department.
It's called the Trooper's Pledge, the mantra of the Michigan State Police.
I will not shy from conflict.
Joining is no easy decision. You need discipline and heart.
I will serve anyone who may be in peril or distress.
The training is extensive, demanding. Being part of the best is a privilege, but the ultimate honor is knowing you're serving the public.
I will perform my duties with excellence, integrity, and courtesy, and conduct myself.
Whether you're a trooper working traffic enforcement, investigating crimes, serving as a member of a specialty unit such as the Emergency Support Team, Aviation, Underwater Recovery, Bomb Squad, K-9, or Motor Unit, you are the front line of defense for your community.
I am a Michigan State Trooper.
Find out if you have what it takes. The next recruit school begins soon. Go to mi.gov/MSPjobs to get started.
Welcome back to the Megacast right here on 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 The Biff today. Did I say that right, Tyler?
You did. That sounded beautiful.
All right, 88.1 The Biff, now covering a whole lot more area for us, live from West Bloomfield High School and from Bloomfield Hills High School radio stations. Really good to have them on board. You're also watching on Civic Center TV channel 19 and channel 15. There's so much going on.
We are on 19. We are on WBTV.
We are now.
So
Okay, we're on
accurate,
channel 19,
accurate
channel
info.
15, and channel 99 if you're on AT&T, and CivicCenterTV.com. Patiently waiting for us to get all that out is the fire chief of West Bloomfield Township, Greg Flynn. Chief Flynn, thank you for joining us on the broadcast today. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you and Tyler? Doing great.
We are. I know it's a very busy time for you. We'll check in with you in a minute. I want to see if we can see Mike Morin, the Bloomfield Township Fire Chief, and make sure his Zoom is working. Chief Morin, thank you very much for joining us on the Megacast as well. Good to have you with us. Okay, we can't quite hear you, but are you there, and can you hear us, sir? He's still hitting a couple of buttons.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. It's so easy to get muted a little bit, though. How you doing? How you doing, Chief?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for joining us. We are so happy to now be covering a wider service area and to have you involved with us. And, Chief Flynn and I have been talking virtually every day over the past week or so, so really good to get your perspective and see how things are going in Bloomfield Township. And Chief Flynn told me when we talked on the phone over the weekend that Oakland County has put your department, the West Bloomfield department, and other departments into kind of a regional effort. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. We're working with a divisional type command. They split the county up into 5 different divisions, and we're working together to try to have concentrations of support where it's needed. As this thing shifts in the demand on the system, we want to be prepared so we can move both fire and EMS resources to where they're needed the most. So that's just kind of getting built out. Just started this last week, and a lot of communication has to happen to make that happen. Due to the fact that we're on different radio dispatchers and operate a little bit differently. So we're working hard at it, but I think it's something that's going to be good for the whole community.
Well, it will, and I assume that you always have, in the case of a big incident, a very large fire, or some major incident that happens in particular near the borders of the communities, that you and the other neighboring departments have worked together in the past.
Yeah, we have. We basically got handshake agreements between everybody around us. I think that's how fire and EMS work. We have legal documents that say we can work together, but for the most part, if somebody calls any one of our departments, we're there to assist them. So whether it be for fire needs or EMS needs, just stand by for coverage to help their community get back on their feet. That's kind of what we work with.
Chief Flynn in West Bloomfield, switching back over to you now. Last time we talked, you gave us a very realistic and sobering information about where we are at in West Bloomfield. You said, I think I got the quote here, that the coronavirus is definitely here now. Just give us an update on where you think we are on this Monday as we continue to watch on TV these numbers doubling and tripling.
So we're probably, best way to describe it is holding where we are. And I don't think that there's been a huge change since the update that I provided last week. Just here this morning, I think every call that I've heard go out has had a positive screen for COVID-19. Unfortunately, some of those, 2 of those calls this morning were very critical, where the patient was experiencing severe symptoms. So we are still in the thick of this. Remember, as we've described disease transmission, and when we talk about mitigating that and influencing the impact of disease transmission, that it's going to take time. And so a lot of the testing that we're getting right now was testing from 5 to 7 days ago, when we were just implementing some of these measures that the governor put into play. So we're not going to really see the fruit of that again, probably until the end of this week. So all of these folks that we're seeing come up positive are people that were already exposed and are now becoming symptomatic. Remember, the day we're exposed isn't the day that we get sick. So it takes a few days for things to go in, and then the symptoms can get worse as time goes on.
Yeah, we're seeing things like the auto show being canceled, major facilities like TCF in downtown Detroit being, transferred and made into a hospital. We see these reports in the news, and clearly we are right in the middle of it, and we have not yet flattened the curve, Chief Flynn.
Well, Dave, one of the things that it's so great about the local perspective on this is, I'll take my oldest son, Kellen. He's a senior this year, and what his senior year looks like is very different than probably all of that his brothers will have or that his cousins have had. So that's the reality of our West Bloomfield and Bloomfield Township schools, and everybody that's within the listening of the broadcast today. There's impacts greater than the auto show when you're a senior in high school and you may not have an open house, or you have to virtually graduate. What's that going to look like for some of those folks? And that brings me back to the conversation you had with a counselor last week. What is the impact of that? And that's something we need to continue the conversation while Chief Morin and I are preparing plans for the day-to-day operations within our communities and the emergency preparedness. There are folks like the principal that you had on last week from West Bloomfield High School and others that are taking on those challenges, which I think Chief Morin and I will stay in our expert kind of world here, because the complexity of what our kids within our communities are going through, and what folks that are furloughed from work because of the shutdowns that are taking place, the impact now, right? We're seeing how wide this goes. We're not just talking about disease transmission. We're talking about our lives and the impact this virus is having on those.
All right. Well, you could tell Chief Morin, because we've known each other for a while, and I'm just getting to know him, that I might throw a curveball at you guys every once in a while in the effort of getting information out to the community. So I know you guys know a lot more than I know. So what I'm going to ask Chief Flynn, could you ask Chief Morin a question that you think might be helpful for people to know? And Chief Morin, if you would do the same for Chief Flynn. Chief Flynn, let's start with you.
Okay, well, I would say one of the things that I would have a question about is, what are the number of COVID positive patients that are coming from COVID positive screened patients for the 911 center in Bloomfield Township? Are you seeing most of those coming out of extended care facilities, which include our independent assisted and nursing home facilities, or are you seeing them come from private homes?
I think right now it's a balance between the two. We have a lot of people in the community that are affected by this. They're stay at home right now. And then we have a couple incidents that are coming out of our extended care facilities, that we're dealing with. I think a lot of this is like watching that snowstorm being forecasted, that there's 6 to 12 inches coming and you're preparing for it. And we've been watching that for a while, and I think it's just starting to snow here. So we're looking at it from this is going to be a long-term event. I think we're just getting flurries at this time, I guess is how I would put it, or the incipient stage of the fire in the fire service. But we're seeing a little bit of balance of both. I think what we've seen the most of, I think most communities can say, is the runs we normally have luckily have gone down. The traffic accidents and things of that nature have helped us balance it out. So that's certainly helped by having people stay at home, and will help us in keeping resources manageable as this thing builds.
All right, Chief Moore, now the spotlight's on you. Do you have a question for Chief Flynn?
I would ask Chief Flynn, what is his community, or what is he seen as the president of Oakway in regards to mental health or the health of the first responders, and what direction does he see that going?
Right. So thanks for that question, Chief. This is way harder than Dave's questions, first of all. The emotional health component is it's actually something that Dave and I have touched on a little bit, and I appreciate you bringing it up even more because I know you're an advocate as well in the Yellow Rose campaign and taking care of our providers. I am very concerned. We've reached out to our chaplain to re-engage. Well, I shouldn't say re-engage, to find other ways to engage. You know, it's been so easy to have the chaplain to stop by a fire station and check in on folks. Well, we can't do that. Our peer support teams would normally come into an engine house and sit with a group and, you know, ask them how they're doing and how they're feeling and how they're coping. And that's not an option for us. So we're definitely are rethinking the approach on emotional health issues in the fire service across our public safety, police, and EMS as well. And how do we engage with that? We know it's taking a toll. They're working long hours. We're seeing our attendance better than ever. The firefighters are showing up to work because they know that their community needs them and they're here. And then they have the added stress of what they take home, and not just what they saw that day, but physically what can be on them, on their clothes, and the fear of, especially those with loved ones at home that are immunocompromised or have grandparents that take care of their kids on their days that they're working, and then they go home and potentially expose someone. While low, it's still an exposure. So you're right, Chief, that is a challenge for us. I think it's going to take a village to address that. But some of the things that we've got working on hopefully will make the play here. And Dave, this is, you know, as Chief Morin talks about that storm, this isn't a play for just the next day or two. This is weeks and potentially months. So even the problems or challenges that we're facing today may not be the problems and challenges that we're facing in a week or 3 or 2 months.
Well said, and I've been thinking about that a lot. You know, it was so hard personally to isolate myself over the weekend, and I know everyone else is going through that. We're all starting to get cabin fever, and it's going to be spring. It's starting to warm up, and normally this time of year, I'm just thinking we're going to baseball games and getting out in the park and doing more of those kind of things, and we're doing a lot less of that now. And you know, the forecasts that we see in the news are ominous, and it looks like it's going to be going on for a while. So with that in mind, I'm going to send it back to both of you. Greg, Flynn, we'll start with you in West Bloomfield. Is there going, I mean, I hate to ask this, but is there going to be a breaking point? We see the hospitals, if the news accounts are right, they're having difficulty with supplies. They're triaging people in the parking lot, which is, these things are smart. That's smart. But the challenge is, are we going to get to a breaking point for our first responders where you won't have the people, the equipment, the ability to respond? And you know, as Pat Watson said a couple of minutes ago, and I'll finally get to a question here, but as Pat Watson said a couple of minutes ago, you can't have like a dream. You've got to have a plan. So I know you guys are working on contingency. Where are we at, and what do you see for challenges going forward? We'll start with you, Greg.
So Chief Morin did a nice job of putting this into context with the divisions that the township, or excuse me, that the county fire service, all the fire departments across the county are working on to address if that breaking point starts to show. I am confident, and there's a difference between confidence and being cocky, so I am confident that we are going to be able to manage what comes our way. Again, because of the speed of the snowstorm and the rate of which it's falling and accumulating, right now the capacity is there to handle it from the EMS side. If there's a department that we work closest with on a daily basis, it's our brothers and sisters in Bloomfield Township. The concern, Dave, comes in, and I have an 11 o'clock call where we'll be discussing capacities at the hospital. So it's one thing to have enough ambulances and be showing up with patients. It's another thing for the hospital to be able to receive those patients. And because the treatment for those, that 20% that we know that's going to get hospitalized, 80% is going to do well at home, 20% are going to get hospitalized. And of that 20%, we know that there's a percentage that are really going to be cared for on a ventilator and extended stay, right? So that all starts to stack up. That's probably going to be the choking point or breaking point that you're speaking of. And there's things in the works to try to plans that are being developed, actually are developed. It's just really how do we implement now that surge capacity that we can build into the county hospital system. And then that plays into Chief Morin and I's calculations. Now, instead of transporting a patient to Bloomfield Township or to St. Joe's in Pontiac, now I might be transporting a patient to an alternative hospital site. Think big. Think where there's big open spaces where they can set this up, like a big arena or a big conference center. Now we're going to be moving patients to those areas that will be makeshift hospitals, which will be longer out of service time for our ambulances and just, a little bit more stress on the system. I know a long answer there.
No, good answer. To the extent that either of you can answer, Chief Morin, I'll send it to you, but maybe Greg, Flynn, you know the answer to this one. Is there any consideration, thoughts, efforts, discussion about maybe Chief Morin having something a little closer? They're building out TCF downtown. Is that going to serve the region, or do we need something here in Oakland County as well?
Well, I think there's plans in place to put those facilities around the county. They'll build them out as the demand helps. I think the important thing on this whole issue is that to keep peace of mind with our employees and the public is that we have a plan. So we've blown through plans A and B so far. As administrators, we're working on plans C, D, E, and F, and our employees are kind of morphing into that plan C. So as long as they see that there is a plan in place and we're staying ahead and on task with that plan, you're going to provide a lot of support to the people that got to deliver that plan. So that's kind of our job as administrators. We again, this is going to ramp up, and we will ramp up accordingly. The county has certainly worked with us on protocols, and I've seen protocols I thought I would never see in my life being pushed out in 1-2 days to help us handle the impact of this on the system.
Well, Chief Morin, thank you very much. This is so helpful. I hope you guys realize, I know you do, but it is so helpful for us to be able to chat with both of you. I know you're both on the front line. It's very reassuring to the community that you're both honest and truthful and realistic, and that you both have plans. And, boy, I see a couple of guys on our team here in Oakland County that I'm really happy that we got the quarterbacks that we have, and you two fire chiefs to get us through. I'm confident. But thank you for Chief Morin for being with us today and being so straightforward and honest. And Flynn, you and I have been doing this for a couple of weeks. I know you've had the most honest comments of anyone on this show, and I appreciate it. So before we go, guys, I know you got to get on a call. Greg, Chief Flynn, do you have anything you want to add today? Any tips, thoughts for the community?
Sure. Thanks, Dave. First of all, it's always good to see Chief Morin, and I appreciate him taking time and him joining into the Megacast here. I want to send a sincere thank you to the community. We've asked, they've responded. The number of surgical masks from dentist offices that are closed that they've donated to first responders, and 95 masks that people have donated. The township attorney stopped by the station the other day and had some masks that were still in the case that he had in his garage for doing some projects that were P100. So the community is stepping into the help circle, and we're grateful for that. And I want people to know too, just because you're not donating something, if you're staying home, if you're washing your hands, if you're maintaining the social distance when you're at Costco or at the Kroger and you're paying attention to the blue square that says stand here and you're being respectful, you're doing your part. And that helps with infectious disease control. And that is what we need right now. Everybody doing that. Dave, we're moving in to week 2 of this roughly, and we're only halfway. And if we stop or change our trajectory now, this whole week that we've given up, this whole week that we've made those tough choices, it's for nothing. If we start putting sick people and large groups of people back out there together, we've done these past few days for nothing. So stay vigilant. It sounds like we're beating that same drum over and over again because we are. And that's exactly what we need people doing. And it's because of this message that keeps getting out there and these kind of updates that I hope will encourage people to remain firm in their stance about the fight against COVID-19.
We take it very seriously. Chief Morin, your thoughts?
I couldn't have said it any better. I think that, staying vigilant with this, I know sometimes we can justify our little trips to here and there in our own head. But remember, you're trying to protect, your grandparents, parents, and other people as well, not just yourself. So look broader than yourself on this. Talk to other people by Facebook, and we will get through this.
All right, Chiefs. Thank you. Big virtual high five to both of you guys. That was absolutely beautiful. I appreciate you taking time, and we will keep in touch. I know you're both busy. We really appreciate you taking almost a half an hour for us today. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Chief Morin, great. Thank you. Good to meet you. Look forward to meeting you in person.
You too.
Chief Flynn, thank you very much, and Godspeed to both of you guys. And listen, the whole community totally has your back. We really appreciate you guys just putting your lives on the line, and all the people that work with you. Our first responders here are amazing. Thank you very much, and we'll, I'm sure, be talking again very soon. From their offices in West Bloomfield and Bloomfield Township, there are our incredibly capable, skilled fire chiefs with us, Tyler Keefe. And, I always feel better when we talk to them because we get the straight poop, if you will, and even if it's not the best news, we know what's going on, and that's very reassuring for at least one broadcaster.
And it's great information to have, and we do appreciate. I at least appreciate their honesty and their forthrightness with all this information, because the community needs to know the reality of this situation to be able to best take it seriously.
Okay, so just an update. Thank you. If you're tuning in and you're hearing all this on the radio and watching it on TV and you're thinking, what is this? My name is Dave Scott. Very good to meet you. That's Tyler Keefe. I am a West Bloomfield High School grad. He is a Bloomfield Hills grad. Was it Andover when you were there? Was it still Andover, Tyler?
It was still. I was the last graduating class from Andover.
All right. So, instinctively we should be rivals, but we're working together here, and we have expanded our coverage on our two former high school radio stations, which are now doing a great job to serve the community through this crisis. We are live today on 88.1 The Biff and 89.3 Lakes FM, covering a big swath of Oakland County between the two stations. We're also live on Civic Center TV, where you could see us online, the video of this radio broadcast at civiccentertv.com, and you can also check it out at Civic Center TV 15, 19, and on AT&T Channel 99. I want to thank the West Bloomfield Township Clerk's Office today for putting us on their Facebook page. We're on a different Facebook page every day, and today Debbie Binder in the Clerk's Office, a huge thank you for sharing your Facebook channel and allowing us to reach a larger audience. For those of you that are just joining us, we have a new thing here. We've been doing it for a little bit over a week now, and it is called the Carryout Club. I'm just going to go to our website real quick, and what we've done is we have put together a web page that has a listing of restaurants that you can get safe carryout from with either drive-up, delivery, or curbside. You call them up on the phone and they bring your food out a variety of different ways. And you can see if you're online now that Captain Jeff, our carryout club manager, has a ton of restaurants in here across Bloomfield, the entire Bloomfield area, West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, Bloomfield Township. We're going to get some into the Birmingham and Franklin area, certainly Keagle Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and beyond. Today we are going to feature the Fifth Tavern on Telegraph Road in Bloomfield Township. So we're going to check in with them. We're also going to check in with Mark Russell, CEO and founder of Catalyst. They have a mobile app that is going to help you interact with people via Zoom. A couple of our elected officials, Howard Rosenberg, checks in from West Bloomfield Township. He's also very involved with the DIA. And what's all this mean for other cultural outlets like the DIA? Amanda Harrison, is it? How do we pronounce her last name?
I believe it's Keighley.
Keighley. Amanda Harrison Keighley, Community Engagement Manager for Oakland County for the DIA, will join us via Zoom. It's got to be some way we can get some culture from our homes. And hopefully that's what they're they're going to talk about, Tyler. We'll find out about that in just a couple of minutes. So that and more coming up. A lot of other information. We also do one other thing here in the Megacast. If you're joining us for the first time, we have our own vocabulary, our own unique vocabulary of new words and phrases that have grown out of this, and we would welcome your communication as well. If you have one after you hear ours, or even before you do, just by way of example, the most obvious at the top of our list, Tyler, is flatten the curve. That's what we're trying to do right now. We never said flatten the curve until this whole thing started, right?
No, I hadn't heard any instance of that before this entire saga began.
And that means?
It means that we are putting forth an effort to slow the exponential growth of COVID-19 cases by, of course, following those regulations and precautions that are being given to us and suggested to us by our local emergency services.
Okay. Well done, well said. We got a long list. It's growing every day. Lot more information on the Civic Center TV website. You can go to our coronavirus page and find out more. A lot of information about our new radio partner, the BIF. We are so happy to have the BIF participating, and I think we're making preparations, I hope, for them to be with us on a continuing basis. And if you have any thoughts, any comments, you want to share anything, you have a guest idea, you have a restaurant idea, you got something that you would like all of us to know about, feel free to call our number, 248-683-2343. 248-683-2343. Again, 248-683-2343, and we'll see if we can squeeze you into the schedule for next hour if you have something you want to share, or if you just want to talk to the staff and give us an idea about something. We would enjoy hearing from you. This is definitely a community effort. And Tyler, one of the things, we're going to go to break here in a second, but one of the things that we want to make sure we're figuring out how to do better, in addition to having all these wonderful guests, is develop some kind of a strategy so we can do a little town hall kind of thing in interaction with the community as well. We're working on that right now.
Yeah, because everybody's got something to say about this, and we've been talking to a variety of people, business owners and municipal leaders, emergency services, and we've had some instances where we've talked to the people out social distancing and staying at home and self-quarantining, but there's always more that can be done, and it'd be really interesting to get their angle on it.
All right. Well said. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back. We'll recap what the governor said during her news conference. I'm glad we did not take it today because there really wasn't anything new and breaking in there. We'll get to that. We're going to talk to the folks at Fifth Tavern, I hope, and then Mark Russell coming up after the top of the hour, CEO and founder of Catalyst XL, and we'll talk about a mobile Zoom app. You are listening to 88.1 The Biff. That's 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Did I nail that?
You did.
All right. And 89 this is the legal ID. We'd get arrested if we didn't do this. This is even more important than a governor dictate. You got to get the legal ID. 89.3 WBLD, Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake. The signal may not be as strong, but we got a lot of communities.
We do.
We do. We're going to take a break. We will be back with more on the Megacast. Thank you for joining us. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe, back in a moment.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I'll have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace. Learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. Now you're queen of your castle. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you will feel empowered to own your retirement like you own your home. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to clearing financial hurdles, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Dave Scott. He is Tyler Keefe. See, now the camera's on me. Hi, Dave Scott. Now the camera's on him. Tyler Keefe, for those of you listening on the radio, that makes absolutely no sense at all. But you can go to civiccentertv.com and watch. We would really enjoy having you join us visually here through the broadcast. And tune in. By the way, if you cannot listen to the entire show today, you got to go do something, or you tune it in and you want to see what happened before, you just tuned in. CivicCenterTV.com is links to all the stuff, and we'll get more hopefully on the BIF website and our websites as well. But go to CivicCenterTV.com and just social media outlets everywhere in West Bloomfield, and you can see the Megacast continuing to be rebroadcast. So we'll get rid of that art on TV. Lots of buttons hit. Joining us right now is... by the way, this is radio on TV, Tyler. Just want people to know that we do have a TV studio here. It is very nice and pretty and elaborate, but we're in the radio studio because this is where all the cool stuff is. Mark Russell is the CEO and founder of Catalyst XL, and they have come up with a really cool mobile Zoom app. Mark, how you doing? Can you hear me, Mark?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning.
Well, thank you for joining us. I'm going to just read the paragraph they wrote here. Now, you're on camera now, and everyone can see us, so try not to blush as we read read the paragraph they wrote. Mark has, and then, well, you can correct it because it might not be right, but Mark has created an app to help businesses streamline what they do via an app during the coronavirus outbreak. He's teamed with fitness centers where they can, for instance, live stream workouts, with medical facilities where they can use the app as a crisis communication center for employees and patients alike. Is that pretty close, Mark?
Oh, it's exactly accurate. We invented a machine, for lack of a better word, that can create a mobile app for companies in just a couple hours. It used to take 6 months to a year, and now I can create a mobile app for a company in just a matter of hours. And that's important because everybody's remotely working, right? And so putting, a company's mobile app onto someone's iPhone or tablet is really good. It's a great way to communicate. And so we decided that during this crisis, we need to help. And one way is to keep Americans healthy. So we're offering at a highly, highly discounted rate to fitness centers, live streaming workouts from their own private mobile app to people in their households. So we can keep Americans healthy, and we can keep people from canceling their memberships with health facilities. So we can kind of keep the economy healthy too. And it's been wildly successful. We've had dozens of fitness centers sign up, and we're doing everything we can to get their mobile apps live and get people exercising over the live stream and on-demand exercise features. We're also helping hospitals, just like you said. They need to, communicate with potential visitors of patients and doctors and nurses, all kinds of COVID-19 information. And so we launch mobile apps for hospital systems so that they can communicate with all the people that are a part of that health system.
Mark, thank you very much for joining us. Mark Russell, CEO and founder of Catalyst XL. Mark, we've not had a chance to talk, and that Larry Nyland puts a show together. We've been busy trying to get ready and make all the buttons work. So can I assume that you're local here in our Lakes area in Oakland County, right here with us somewhere?
That's a great question. Yeah, we're located downtown Detroit in normal times in the News Center area. We also have offices in Chicago, but we're headquartered here in Detroit.
Nice. And where, if you don't mind, where are we speaking to you today?
Well, I'm a Grosse Pointer, so
all right.
I'm an East Sider.
We won't hold that against you, but I appreciate the help that you're giving to our local folks. See, now, and my boss, I know he's watching this right now, and I've been telling him for like the last 4 years, I said, Dave, I know you want me to get an app online for all of our streaming and everything we're doing, but it's such a process. It takes months and years and millions of dollars, and we really want to do it, but it's just beyond our reach. It sounds to me like you're just kind of blowing all that right out of the water with what you're doing, Mark.
Totally blew it out. Let's have you an app by Wednesday. How's that?
I'm on board, okay? And listen, we don't do anything free on this show because we all got to survive. So I'm not asking for a freebie. I'll take a good deal. But, we would love...
we'll give you a great deal.
Okay, we would love to be able to get this show on an app so people can go to it and maybe it just take us through, what do you got to do? I mean, I know when you build a website, you got to figure out all the things you want. I assume it's kind of similar when you're building an app. You got to figure out what goes where and what's included. How's that process work?
That's right. That's exactly right. So we have like an onboarding process. It takes, a few hours. You need an icon because the app goes on your smartphones. So it can be downloaded from the Apple and Google stores. So we have to get some artwork and you have to name it. That's exciting stuff. You get to name your app, and you're going to have an app that's in the stores that people can go search and find and download. You need things like description and some screenshots. We do all that for you, or we work with you to make sure we've got the description correct that goes into the app stores. And then we have a self-administration on the back end. So it's super easy to manage your own mobile app, just like a website like Squarespace or Wix. We've built that for mobile apps, the ability to self-administer your own content, made it super easy. So yeah, we set that all up, we train you, and then you can start putting content into your system. For you, you'd probably have some information about your show and about you. And we'd also want to put the live stream card in there so that people could watch your show within the app very easily. They would just open the app and watch your show.
So you made it easier for people during this coronavirus crisis that we're having that maybe didn't have an easy way to communicate with people via their mobile devices. Are people taking you up on that offer, and are we seeing people in this emergency develop apps so we can all stay connected? Is that really working out?
Yeah, it's working out. We've had 28 health like fitness centers, studios, gyms sign up, and we're bringing them all live so that and that's thousands of people that they're conducting workouts for every day. So, we're doing our part that way. And then we have one major hospital system sign up, and we're deploying their app for that COVID-19 communication crisis center in the app. And that'll reach thousands of people as well. It's a large hospital system. I can't name it quite.
I get it. You could tell us, but then you'd have to kill us. And we can't have murder going on right now on the radio. So, Mark, thank you very much. If people want to get a hold of you, I'll let you get a shameless free plug in here because you're just trying to help get us all connected, and I get that.
Yeah, just go to catalystxl.com. It's CATALYST, the letter X, the letter L.com. So catalystxl.com. That's our website, and
right.
There's a way to reach us there. Just go into the contact us, and we'll get right back to you. Especially if you're a fitness center or a hospital system right now, that's our focus. But really, any business, and we're going to get you your app by Wednesday. So.
All right. So John Atwater, who you talked to when we were getting you connected via Zoom, we're going to put that on his to-do list today. And one of us will follow up with you, and we'll see if we can figure out a way to make this happen. And it would be immensely helpful for us to have a reasonable app. Now, this can't cost millions of dollars. We are a small little community radio and television outlet here.
We're going to keep it small community.
All right.
We're doing Mark. A lot of good through the crisis, so we're going to take good care of you.
Good. Well, very good. Well, let's get it figured out, and we'll get you back on, and we can let the whole world see our new app, and you can help introduce it back here on the show. All right?
That sounds great. Thanks so much for the time, and really enjoyed meeting you and being on your show.
Thank you very much. Before you go, is everyone okay and healthy, and you guys are doing okay in your home?
Yeah.
You hang?
A little cooped up.
Yeah, you hang. I mean, were you home all weekend, and what did you do to I ask this of everybody. What are you doing to get through it, staying in your home for so many hours and days?
we have a fire pit out back, and so we'll build a fire and sit outside and just kind of blow off some steam that way.
That's a great idea. The weather's getting better, and thank you for sharing that. Mark Russell, have a great day. Thank you for checking in.
You too. Take care. Thanks so much.
All right. There's another way. I mean, the technology right now is absolutely amazing, Tyler. I mean, we know about apps. This is not earth-shattering news that we can make an app. It is nice that we can deploy it quickly. It could be a little bit more affordable, and that I want to check out some of these apps that gyms are using and hospitals. I mean, why not? Let's stay connected however we can. So that's good.
Yeah, especially in the current times and keeping connected with other people. I mean, we're seeing new apps being used regularly all throughout different walks of life and different businesses, and it's things like that help people stay communicated and help businesses continue to run smoothly. So it's great to see those continue to pop up so easily now, as opposed to previously where it was, like you said, a big effort to get one single app running.
Okay, we have a couple of minutes. I want to get a couple of things done here, if you don't mind. First of all, Governor Whitmer did speak today to the media. Nothing that we haven't already seen in the news, but here's what she had to say. The auto show is canceled. They are rescheduling it for next year, but that's huge. Big impact on our economy. I think I heard somebody from the Metro Detroit Convention and Visitors Bureau say it was, just during the summer, like hundreds of millions of dollars of lost revenue for the city and our hotels, and it's devastating economically. But the Army Corps of Engineers and others are going to take Kobo/TCF, and they're going to turn it into a big hospital. I was thinking about that this morning. I mean, they're going to have to put like plumbing and power and everything. And then I thought, well, they take that place and they turn it into an auto show every year. And we got all the guys and gals that do that. I bet they can turn that thing into a pretty good hospital, and we can save a lot of lives. And while it's economically a mess, what a cool thing that is going to happen. It'll be interesting to watch that transformation. And then locally, our fire chiefs told us that there are some plans to do something similar here in Oakland County as it's needed. So there's a discussion and a plan in place behind the scenes right now, at least.
Yeah, another thing that's listed that was mentioned in the governor's conference today was from Dr. Calden, who had said that we're still weeks away from this reaching its peak. So these hospitals and medical systems and first responders are still working very hard to partner with each other to make sure that if there is a point where these hospitals reach their capacity and there needs to be overflow, that they have plenty of options in all areas of the local area to make sure that that's happening.
And that's frustrating for all of us to hear. We're weeks away, and that we're going to be, we're going to have to isolate for a protracted period of time, but I don't think that comes as any huge surprise to anybody. Numbers as of Sunday, 5,486 confirmed cases. I'm sure the number's much bigger. Yes. And then, sadly, 132 deaths here in Michigan, and we're beginning to hear from some high-profile people who have passed away. And the thing that I'm seeing is that it's really starting to hit home, because it's not all people that are 75 or 80 years old. There are people in all demographics, people without, acute health problems that are being affected. So if you weren't taking all the precautions before, continuing evidence that you need to. New executive order temporarily allowing nurses and physicians' assistants to treat COVID-19 patients. What was that order about?
That was about as specific of information on that as I found. I'll have to look more into that. But it may be something where they're working more closely with patients who are having less severe symptoms. That would be my presumption of that, but we'll have to look more into that.
Okay, the president did affirm the request from the governor to give Michigan federal disaster relief that I think will primarily be going to municipal entities, but that's really good news and something we desperately need. And then we talked to Pat Watson, the superintendent of Bloomfield schools, earlier, and I think he was pretty clear. He said school is done for the year. Brick and mortar school is done for the year. It's not been official, but I think everyone pretty much knows that. No official decision out of the state as to how all that's going to go down, but I think you're kidding yourself. I hope I'm not getting ahead of anybody, but I think we're all kidding ourselves if we think that school is going to open before the year is over in the conventional way, at least. So That's the big news. Now, if you are online right now and you're watching, I invite you to go to civiccentertv.com. This is what it looks like right here on the web. And for those of you watching us on TV, you can see that we continue to bring you all the information about the Carryout Club, which we're going to get into in just a little bit, information about our Megacast on our radio and TV stations, and then we continue to update our coronavirus page with information that is important to you. So you can see now, good job by the webmaster team. They, at the very top of the page where we have all these stories, direct links to the Center for Disease Control, direct links to the state of Michigan, direct link to Oakland County resources, and we'll try to get some more links up there. That was well laid out, maybe for some of our local municipalities. Good page to go to if you just want to get the stories that impact us here in our local area. It is civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. I think we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a minute. Talk about the Carryout Club. Carryout Club's an important effort on our part because we are doing all we can to help the restaurants here in our community that are struggling to get connected with people like you that might want a carryout meal. So we have a listing of restaurants, and the listing is really unique. It's not what you would get on Google or Yelp or one of these other services online. They're very specific information put together by our own Captain Jeff, who is running the Carryout Club, about the restaurants right here in our local area. You can just go to Carryout Club on the website, as we are doing right now, and just click on there, and you get a list of the local restaurants. We're committed to mentioning these restaurants every day. Tyler will zip through that list in a minute, and hopefully we can get one of these guys on the line. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. A huge thank you to all of our media participants who are making this broadcast available to you today. That includes 88.1 The Biff. We are live there today, and I can't thank everyone there. A million details went into making that happen behind the scenes, and it's working, I think. So that great. 89.3 Lakes FM. We are live there. That gets you a big chunk of Oakland County between those two radio stations. Civic Center TV, Channel 15, Channel 19, and Channel 99 if you're at AT&T, and you can go on the web to civiccentertv.com and watch us. And a huge thanks today to our Facebook partner. It is the West Bloomfield Township Clerk's Office, and Debbie Binder, who has added us to her Facebook page. Right back, and we'll talk more about the Carryout Club and get some more interesting guests here in a moment. You are listening to and watching the Megacast.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Uncle Dan?
Mom? Dad?
If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
I am a Michigan State Trooper, entrusted to keep sacred the traditions of my department.
It's called the Trooper's Pledge, the mantra of the Michigan State Police.
I will not shy from conflict.
Joining is no easy decision. You need discipline and heart.
I will serve anyone who may be in peril or distress.
The training is extensive, demanding. Being part of the best is a privilege, but the ultimate honor is knowing you're serving the public.
I will perform my duties with excellence, integrity, and courtesy, and conduct myself.
Whether you're a trooper working traffic enforcement, investigating crimes, serving as a member of a specialty unit such as the emergency support team, aviation, underwater recovery, bomb squad, K-9, or motor unit, you are the front line of defense for your community.
I am a Michigan State Trooper.
Find out if you have what it takes. The next recruit school begins soon. Go to mi.gov/MSPjobs to get started.
Welcome back to the Megacast. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe, we thank you very much for joining us on 88.1 The Biff, 89.3 Lakes FM, Civic Center TV, Channel 15 and Channel 19, plus Channel 99 and AT&T, CivicCenterTV.com, and, of course, on the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield Township Clerk's Office. We are doing all we can. That probably wasn't a very interesting shot for you. We are doing all that we can for those of you watching on TV. You can see to keep this area clean. Let's not forget, you got to wash your hands. You got to keep your surfaces clean. You got to be very careful about contacts and stay home. Those are the tips that we continue to get from those in the know, that doctors, our government officials are trying to get us to, to flatten the curve, Tyler. And the only way that this is really going to happen, I see all these efforts and people. I got a bunch of calls over the weekend. People said, hey, Dave, why don't we put this thing together and do that to help out this group that's doing a really amazing job. And, we kept looking at all these things, and every time it was something that got you out of your house. Well, the most important thing we can do, it's the most important donation you can make, it's the best service that you can provide for your community right now, is if you're not an essential worker, stay at home and do all you can to keep this coronavirus from spreading, because it's spreading like crazy here in Michigan. I saw a really good thing on CNN, and a lot of the news and the national news has just been a mess, but I saw Dr. Sanjay Gupta and Anderson Cooper, Tyler, demonstrating how to wash your hands. And I've been washing my hands, and doing a pretty good job, but, man, just Google that and see how Dr. Sanjay Gupta, a doctor, washes his hands. I mean, he's getting his fingers between each other, and for those of you on TV, kind of scratching his nails and getting the back of his hands. And so I'm trying that at home, and it almost takes 2 or 3 happy birthdays to really make all that happen. So continue to make the effort.
Yeah, it's a full effort to get the entire hand, and you got to think about those areas between your fingers and under your cuticles as well.
It is, and it's really hard not to touch your face. And somebody said, I think I heard it on another radio station, they said make sure that you don't touch your ears, too, because people are getting the coronavirus in their ears. What about that?
Yeah, it's actually, it goes right back to our COVID-19 vocabulary, fomite transmission. It's you touch it on the surface of something, or you pick it up from someone else, and then your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your face, anything from that area is going to be more likely for you to pick up the virus that way.
All right, you mentioned the vocabulary, so you've imposed the vocabulary. Let's change our plan here, and let's do the vocabulary and run people down on what this whole new language we have right now. Flatten the curve, Tyler. Flatten the curve.
That's an effort to reduce the number of cases by, of course, taking efforts like social distancing and self-isolation.
All right, social distancing, the next one you mentioned.
Yeah, I mentioned social distancing. That's keeping a distance from others so as to slow the spread of the virus. A minimum of 6 feet is recommended, but if you can avoid interacting with other people in person during this crisis, it's best to do so.
Fomite transmission.
Fomite transmission is where you pick up the virus either from a surface or from another person and then transmit it to yourself, usually through the eyes, the nose, the mouth, or the ears, like you mentioned, which are very easy ways to pick it up, and which is why it's also recommended you don't touch your face.
Happy birthday song.
That's a song that's recommended to be sang twice as you wash your hands. You may have to do it a little bit more as you learn to reach the entirety of your hands and your initial wrist areas.
I hesitate to say this because I don't want a lot of personal attention. My birthday was over the weekend, and thank you, but what a bummer birthday. I just stayed home. Oh, man. Asymptomatic. My hands were very clean, though, by the end of the day. Asymptomatic.
Asymptomatic. Someone may be asymptomatic if they hold the virus, but they're not showing any visual symptoms.
All right. pandemic?
A pandemic is a spread of a disease that has gone global.
All right. New normal.
The new normal is what we have adjusted to in these trying times that is different from how we typically live our lives.
Curbside testing.
That is testing for COVID-19 that occurs usually in some sort of a drive-through fashion.
All right. Abundance of caution.
That is taking extra precautions to make sure that you are not exposing yourself or others potentially to COVID-19.
Stay-at-home order. The stay-at-home order.
That's the order issued by the governor recently to keep non-essential work and other activities from occurring so as to not continue to spread the virus through Michigan.
Something you want to add, 248-683-2343. Let the team know. They'll write it down and get it to us, or maybe we can squeeze you in live on the broadcast. 248-683-2343. 248-683-2343, our number. I can't believe we missed the big one here that is not on our list.
Oh.
The one word that sums up everything, that is the epicenter of all that is the COVID-19 vocabulary.
Coronavirus?
No. Megacast.
Oh, of course.
What's the Megacast?
The Megacast is not a broadcast. It's not a simulcast. It's a large-scale effort to inform the local community through various media outlets.
All right. And we particularly thank our radio stations, 88.1 The Biff, 89.3 Lakes FM, and all of our other outlets. Okay. Right out of the box, we started the Carryout Club. We talked to Suzanne Levine of the West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, and we said, hey, look, what can we do to help restaurants? She said, why not do some kind of online publicity, and let's promote the restaurants. We have set up the Carryout Club. You can find all the Carryout Club listings at civiccentertv.com, and our commitment to participating restaurants is we would mention each and every single one of them every day. Tyler Keefe, let's see what you can do in the 60-second Carryout Club round.
We got a lot of new restaurants coming in from Bloomfield Hills. To start off, we got John's Cafe, Addie Merlot's Primed Aged Beef and Seafood, Little Daddy's, and then Joe Moore Seafood.
Joe Muir's Seafood in Bloomfield Hills is on our. They've got carryout at Joe Muir's.
I guess they do now. That's
we've been going to like the Bagel Deli, and we could be getting carryout from Joe Muir's.
There are a lot of other great restaurants as well. Chatilla Bakery in West Bloomfield, New Yatsuba Japanese, Sonny's Cafe, the Soul Cafe, a service of course, the Friendship Circle, Greek Islands, Coney Island, Prime 29 Steakhouse, Chow over on Orchard Lake Road, Mena Sushi, The Grill in Sylvan Lake. We talked to them last week. Orchard Lake Meza, right up just south of Pontiac Trail. The Fifth Tavern in Bloomfield Township. Bosco's Coffee and Kitchen in Kego Harbor, Ellen's Bakery and Cafe in Sylvan Lake, Bellacino's Pizza and Grinders in Sylvan, Philo Fresh in Kego Harbor, Indo in Kego Harbor, Romano's Carryout and Catering, Loya Organic, Chinatown, the Honey Baked Ham Company on 14 Mile Road in West Bloomfield, Crispelli's up on Orchard Lake Road on the Boulevard, across the street, Smash Burger, and Of course, we have Chefs for Seniors, Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant, Sora Korean, Red Coat Tavern, Jersey Bagel, our good friends at El Chile, Mexican
I didn't
Grill.
mean, by the way, to say anything negative about Jersey Bagel and Deli. I got a great pastrami sandwich the other day. But Joe Muir's Seafood, Tyler, can we order from them like today or tomorrow?
I'm sure.
They're probably not open for lunch.
They may not be.
All
We'll
right.
have to check on that, but you can, of course, get all those details on our Carryout Club website.
Right here. All right. Carry on. You're almost done.
Yeah, Bistro Le Bliss on Orchard Lake Road, Harbor Steakhouse, the famous Harbor Steakhouse in Kego Harbor. Al Amaro, we had lunch from them last week. The Lodge Grill and Bar on Orchard Lake in Kego Harbor. Leo's Coney Island, and of course our first Carryout Club partner, the Stage Deli, located on Orchard Lake Road just before the Boulevard.
And I want you to know that we're not getting a penny from any of these people. I especially want the people at the Biff to know that we are not breaking any FCC commercial rules here. No one's given us a penny for any of this. In fact, this broadcast is costing us thousands of dollars. We are not putting ads, even public service announcements that would be paid. This is just an effort to help you get connected. And we're working now also on a program where these restaurants can get a free app that would help them put their menu on their website or on an app, and then that also would make it easier for people to order. So if you're trying to find something new for lunch, go to the Carryout Club or dinner and please help support these area businesses. They're all having a really hard time. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a couple of moments. The Megacast continues. I really appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you're finding this helpful today. We're here every day from 10 to noon live and repeats throughout the day in many of our outlets. In addition, the archives are all over the internet. You can start to find them at civiccentertv.com. We'll be back in a moment. 89.3 Lakes FM, lakesfm.com, 88.1 The Biff, civiccentertv.com, and more. We'll be right back.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I am a Michigan State Trooper, entrusted to keep sacred the traditions of my department.
It's called the Trooper's Pledge, the mantra of the Michigan State Police.
I will not shy from conflict.
Joining is no easy decision. You need discipline and heart.
I will serve anyone who may be in peril or distress.
The training is extensive, demanding. Being part of the best is a privilege, but the ultimate honor is knowing you're serving the public.
I will perform my duties with excellence, integrity, and courtesy, and conduct myself.
Whether you're a trooper working traffic enforcement, investigating crimes, serving as a member of a specialty unit such as the emergency support team, aviation, underwater recovery, bomb squad, K9 or motor unit, you are the front line of defense for your community.
I am a Michigan State Trooper.
Find out if you have what it takes. The next recruit school begins soon. Go to mi.gov/MSPjobs to get started.
All right, welcome back to the Megacast. Dave, Scott, Tyler, Keefe, all across our West Bloomfield and Bloomfield Hills assets, 88.1 The Biff, 89.3 Lakes FM, Civic Center TV, civiccentertv.com. And today we want to thank the West Bloomfield Township Clerk, Debbie Binder, for putting us on the Clerk's Facebook page. We're on a different Facebook page each and every day as we do our very darndest to get the coronavirus information and other interesting stories out to you at this most important time. We're delighted now to be joined via Zoom by West Bloomfield Township Trustee Howard Rosenberg, and I believe also joining us is DIA docent Amanda Harrison. I can't read this.
Keighley.
Keighley? Hi, Keighley. Did I get that right, Amanda? I just couldn't read it on my sheet.
You did. You nailed it. Thank you so much
Keighley,
for having us.
okay. So thank you, too, for joining us. Let's start with you, Howard. So what do you got for us today? I know we have you on the show, and I know it's something about the DIA. Maybe you can fill us in.
Sure, I'd be happy to, Dave. It's good to see you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing the Megacast. I just want to, for a moment, commend Civic Center TV and the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Commission, which includes Sylvan Lake and Kegel Harbor and Orchard Lake, for excellent job that they've been doing. So thank you all for doing that. Just one small correction. Amanda is a staff person at the DIA. She's not a volunteer, and her full-time job is to be a community relations representative to Oakland County and fulfilling the millage requirements. So she can explain that to you a little more detail. I'm the docent. I'm the volunteer guy. So what the DIA is doing, and I'm going to speak to what the volunteers are doing, and Amanda's going to speak to what the staff and the group is doing as a whole. We are looking at using Zoom to reach out to the community to speak to them about the DIA's collection. Since you can't come to us, we want to bring the DIA to you. And we have a number of different programs. In fact, we have 16 different programs that we could provide to community groups. What we're going to be doing is testing one of them tomorrow at the Optimist Club. And I believe our president of the Optimist Club and our deputy police chief, Kurt Lawson, has provided a link that you can put on your website that we're inviting anybody in the community to join as a guest to our Optimist Club meeting tomorrow. What's the date tomorrow, Dave?
I think I've lost track. I think today is the 30th. It is. Today is Monday. Now, there's no excuse for me not knowing this because yesterday was my birthday, darn it all. Today is the 30th. So, yes, there you go. It's Monday the 30th.
So tomorrow is March 31st at 10 a.m. There will be a link to click on to zoom in to the Zoom meeting. And at that time, my colleague and also resident of West Bloomfield, Ray Haney, and I will be doing a presentation of the DIA's iconic collection. So it ought to be interesting. You also can find out what it is that the Optimist Club does. And if anybody in the area is interested in joining, we'll be happy to help you do that.
Well,
with that, I'd like to...
No, I just was going to say really quickly, I think that is so cool because it would be so easy for all of us right now, Howard, to just take our hands, throw them up in the air, say we're isolated at home. The DIA, we're just going to have to go without enjoying that. So thank you so much for your efforts, and I'm looking forward to hearing from Amanda now as well.
Okay.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for having us virtually here today. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk about the DIA, and happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say that my role at the DIA is communications, and I am really involved in our senior programming as well as our Inside Out collection. So if you're not familiar with Inside Out, it brings reproductions of masterpieces from the DIA's collection into communities like yours in a really different and unique way. If you're not incredibly familiar with our museum, we have over 65,000 pieces in our collection. We're ranked top 5 in the country in terms of importance. And we're most notably known for our being the home to the first Vincent van Gogh to enter a public collection, as well as Diego Rivera's industry murals and the home to one of the first Bruegel paintings in the United States.
Well, you have an amazing collection. You have an amazing collection, Amanda. Thank you. You have an amazing collection, and it's much appreciated. So under normal circumstances, you would be traveling components of your collection to various communities. Is that what would normally be happening?
Yes, we would be putting those pieces out into communities in May. We're hopeful to continue to be on schedule, maybe a little bit pushed back into June. Everything's up in the air right now, but we do have access to over 60,000 pieces through our virtual collection. So anyone with an internet access can go online and explore what the DIA has to offer. And you might find some pieces you haven't seen in the museum because it's impossible for us to have everything on display all at once.
No, I think that is so cool. Forgive me for interrupting. I know it's really hard. It's like the satellite link when you're watching CNN and they're talking to somebody. There's a bunch of delay in here, so thank you for putting up with that. So we can, at any time, in normal circumstances, Amanda, we could go on and we could take a look at your library, but now it's even more poignant, and I really appreciate what you're doing right now. So, but it's always there. Your virtual collection is always there. Is that correct?
It is. It's always there and available to you. And we also have, for the last 10 years, been airing videos on our own YouTube channel called Detroit Institute of Arts on YouTube. And visitors can find clips focusing on the DIA's collection, past events, and exhibitions, as well as curator talks right there, which is in support of the work that Howard's doing as a docent as well.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic. Howard Rosenberg, West Bloomfield Township Trustee, and Amanda Harrison Keighley joining us from the DIA. Thank you so much for doing this, both of you.
Hey, Dave, you have a moment?
I do.
I'm up.
I do. No. You're fine, Howard. Go ahead.
All right. So I have a question for you. I can actually give you a demonstration of what it is that we can do if I am able to share the Zoom screen.
Well, I don't know. See, like everything else in this show, we don't plan this stuff out in advance. So take a shot at it. It's live TV and radio, Howard. We'll see what happens. Go ahead.
You're supposed to give me permission to share the Zoom screen.
All right. So John Atwater, our Zoom concierge, I know is standing by. Let me see if he can do that for you. we'll try and do that, and hopefully that can happen. If it doesn't happen in just a second or two, we'll take a quick break and get him on the line, and then we'll make it happen. Try again, Howard. Is it working now?
So I'm gonna see if I can do this here.
Okay, there you go. It's working. All right, we got it.
What I'm seeing?
We got it.
This is what we're going to be doing tomorrow at the Optimist Club. We're going to be talking about the art that the DIA has, and we're going to be talking about the DIA essentials right now. And there's the portrait, self-portrait that Vincent van Gogh did. That was the first piece that Van Gogh piece to appear in an American museum that Amanda was talking about before. So there's another piece that we're going to be doing, but that's just a hint. That's all. I'm giving you back the screen now. So just wanted to give you an idea of what it is that we're going to be doing tomorrow at the Optimist meeting. So all of your viewers or listeners can be welcome to join in. I think that Kurt gave you a link that you can put on your website, Dave.
I don't.
And if this works out,
we got it? Okay, we got it. Good. Okay, yeah, we got it.
And if this works out, what we're going to do is reach out to lots of community groups, and we can even give you an opportunity to schedule something for your listeners or viewers, I mean.
Okay, so
We feel so proud to be able to offer this through our volunteers. It's a great resource for adults in our community, and I'd like the opportunity to highlight some of the things that we're offering families. School field trips is usually a vital part of our services, and since we're not able to offer field trips right now, we do have resources online for families to enjoy at home. So if they'd like to go to dia.org/education/resources, we have crafts that families can make together, as well as a scavenger hunt and different classroom work that we usually offer to our teachers, but is just as fun to do at home with your loved ones. So we'd like to encourage families to check out those resources as well.
Well, Amanda, I love that idea. And you know what a great way is more parents are participating in their students' education and just trying to expand their own resources and knowledge, that you make this available at this time. And I really appreciate both you and Howard calling attention to this great program. So bravo, very cool. We are finding out all these different things that we can actually do online. And there's nothing like getting to the DIA and seeing these amazing works of art in person. But that being said, you know, it's awful hard. Every time I've gone to the DIA, I get tired before I get to everything. So, you know, even with several trips to the DIA over the years, it's hard to see everything. So there maybe are parts of your collection that we will be able to explore virtually that we have not had the opportunity. And to share that with your family and friends, just a perfect thing to be doing as we are all at home right now. So thank you so much.
And once we're reopened, please do come down to the DIA and take those tours. Admission is always free to anyone living in Oakland Wayne in Macomb County.
Well, we absolutely will. Howard, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Tell me again when the Optimist meeting and this whole online thing is happening tomorrow.
Well, if I remember the date, it's today's the 30th. So tomorrow, March 31st at 10 a.m. on Zoom. There's a link on civiccentertv.com. There's a link on the Facebook page of the police department. There's a link on the clerk's page, on Debbie Binder's page. Put a link on there.
Excellent. I love every single thing about this entire program, except the fact that you scheduled it at 10 o'clock in the morning when our show is going on. Other than that, you know.
Well, we know that, Dave. And we actually have a department head meeting for the Township at 9 a.m. And,
no, it's all right. It's cool. I'm just funning you. I'm just funning you a little bit, Howard. But in all honesty, though, you know, it's really cool. We're gonna record it. I'll tell you what we'll do. Tyler, can we do this? I got it before I keep. This is just live on the air radio here, so I keep making all these commitments on the air, and I don't know if I can keep them or not. But Tyler is really the boss. We can record this Zoom Optimist Club meeting tomorrow, can't we? Yeah. Okay. I tell you what we're going to try to do, Howard. He was giving me probably. So what we'll try to do is record it, and if there's any way, there's no legal issues or anything, we'll try and figure out a way to further distribute it here on our site and get it out to more and more people.
I can record it. I'm going to be the host.
All right.
So I know I can record it, and I will figure out a way to be able to share it.
All right. And then we just got to get Amanda's approval to be able to broadcast it on TV. Are all these works of art, Amanda, are they like in the public domain and we can show them on Civic Center TV?
So these works of art are unfortunately not within the public domain.
All right, that's what I thought.
We own rights to some of them, and it's just dependent on the artists and the time frame in which it was. But they are all available on our website, dia.org.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I appreciate
we'll
it.
check to see whether we can transmit behind the scene programs. So we'll check on that.
Yeah, do check on it. I mean, you know, Howard, it was quite an ordeal. And we made history when we decided during this crisis that it was going to be okay to cover municipal meetings, such as your meetings in West Bloomfield, to make sure that we could do that legally. And the governor had to pass some special rules, and now we're doing Zoom meetings. And thank goodness we're doing that, because government's continuing to operate in public without anyone putting their lives in danger. So, well, we'll check in all the rules. You never know. Maybe there's some rules.
Just so you know that Amanda is also an elected official in Rochester Hills. She ran and won council person office last November.
Well, congratulations, Amanda. So thank you very much to both of you for participating with us. Really, really good to see you. Howard Rosenberg, thank you very, very much. Amanda Harrison Keighley, thank you very much for joining us and the hard work you guys are doing to keep us connected to culture during these challenging times. There we see you now, Amanda. Thank you very, very much. And I appreciate your work with us today and all your work in Rochester Hills as well.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, there you go, Tyler. That's the latest from the Zoom world as we try to stay culturally connected during what is certainly a challenging time. And we'll do what we can to share that with our audience. We'll get the links on the page so you can participate. Did you think we would be doing a double whammy tomorrow where the Optimist Club and the DIA would all get together with Zoom and do all this? I mean, it's a crazy time. All right.
No, but it's great to see that the DIA is continuing to keep their art open and visible to the public during this, and they're doing great things to give plenty of options to the community at large for entertainment and the arts during this time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I didn't have you on camera when you were saying that, but well said, Tyler Keefe. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. Megacast continues right here at 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 The Biff, and also Civic Center TV, civiccentertv.com. And today only on the West Bloomfield Township Clerk's Office Facebook page. We thank Debbie Binder for making all that happen. We'll be back in a moment.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I'll have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to the Megacast on 89.3 Lakes FM and lakesfm.com. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe, and I think we have Larry Nyland checking in, the producer of the show via Zoom. You got to back up just a little bit. Hi, Larry. How you doing?
How's it going today, guys?
You know, it's about 900 degrees in the studio here. It's either that or I got the coronavirus fever. I know I don't, though. I know we're okay, but it's just the building is really hot, so we're working really hard. We had an awful lot going on the show. I know you're working really hard at home. Just wanted to check in with you and just see how things are going and just see if we can give people, I know I didn't warn you, but see if we just get a glimpse of what might be coming up in the next couple of days here on our program.
Let's see. Tomorrow we do have a pretty full lineup. We're going to have Ken Gutman on from Walled Lake Schools, who was with us a week ago, and they're going to be our Facebook partners again. Ken's got a lot of good information, wants to keep the people in the Walled Lake area informed about what's going on. Our own Lauren Azuri, who does a lot of work with Civic Center TV, the park naturalist, she's going to come on and she's going to talk about what kind of things that kids can do during these downtimes to keep up to date with nature and go out and try to find some things out in the woods and things like that. We do have a lady named Cynthia Kahn. She has founded a charity called Refuge for Nations, where she brings in immigrant women and has them do some sewing, but they have kind of converted their company, and they are now making masks for people to purchase. So you can have a mask that you can use and wash and use over and over again. And we're also going to try something a little different. We're going to try perhaps the first Zoom magic act. At 11:30, we have a gentleman named Jacob Ryan who's going to come on, and he's going to try some magic for us here on Zoom. We'll see how that goes.
I love it. Sorry to our audience about seeing our desktop there, but that's great. You're finding a real interesting collection of the breaking news and information, and a little bit of levity in the midst of all that. I really appreciate that. Good work. Let's check with some of our law enforcement officials as well, if we can, Larry, just see how things are going. We've not talked to Kurt Lawson in West Bloomfield. Maybe we can reach out to some of the other departments across our new expanded coverage area and just see how they're doing. It was really, Larry, I know you listened to the show on your end, but it was really a very interesting day. Pat Watson was amazing earlier in the show, and if you didn't hear him, you'll hear him on our archive and replay. The superintendent of schools in Bloomfield Hills, former West Bloomfield High School principal, and he said school's done for the year. I mean, he just came out and said it, and essentially it's not a final word, but for the most part, brick and mortar school is done for the year. He had a lot of other really interesting, insightful things to say. He's a great guy. We're really glad that he took time. We've been getting similarly interesting comments from all of our superintendents. And then to hear from the Bloomfield Township Fire Chief and then the West Bloomfield Fire Chief and hear how Bloomfield, West Bloomfield, these areas in Oakland County out to Waterford, White Lake, all these departments are working together. And with the big news that we heard about TCF Center over the weekend in downtown Detroit, with the auto show being canceled and with TCF being converted into some kind of a hospital of some kind to help take care of people, is that going to be happening in Oakland County? And we got kind of a little bit of a whisper, I think, from our fire chiefs that there are at least plans in the works. So should our overflow at our hospitals become a problem and they just get inundated, that we have another solution. And Larry, I asked the fire chiefs, and I don't know if you heard this or not, I asked the fire chiefs, well, you know, what happens when you get to the break point? And they said, well, we don't think that's a problem, but we do think it could be a problem that the hospitals get to a break point, and that's why we might need some additional temporary facilities, not just in downtown Detroit, but right here in Oakland County as well.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it is, as you're saying, like you were saying, that the TCF Center, Cobo, is going to start turning into a makeshift hospital. It's just crazy. And you would think that stuff like that's going to have to start happening in the suburbs as well.
Well, we will keep an eye on anybody you can find that might have more information about that. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to talk to some Oakland County health officials. We've not had many of them on. See if they're available for us over the next couple of days. You're doing a great job putting together the show from your apartment/condo in West Bloomfield. Everything okay? You're healthy and you doing all right?
I'm hanging in there. You know, you always say every little sniffle, every little cough, you're like, oh, do I have something? But I'm doing okay.
It's funny you say that because I experienced the same thing. I mean, the smallest little whatever, Tyler, I don't know about you, but the smallest little whatever, you're going, well, what's this? Is this, you know? And so far, we have been very fortunate. I have totally isolated, other than coming in here and spending time with Tyler and Ryan. You know, so I haven't been around anybody. I think it's working, you know. And Larry, one other real quick thing to you is, do you know I mean, we keep hearing these stories in the news, but as of yet, I have not run into anyone in my immediate circle that has got the coronavirus. I'm not denying it's out there. I'm just saying, in my immediate circle, my family and the people that I work with, we've been lucky. And I know it's a matter of luck, but how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I actually do. I have a girl that I know that she lives out in Howell. She just tested positive for it. She has the bad fortune of working in one of those rehabilitation facilities with a lot of retired, a retirement home. And so they had it over there, and she hadn't been feeling well, but she just tested positive over the weekend. A good friend of mine, his cousin, unfortunately, yesterday just passed away from it. He'd only had it for about 10 days, but they think that he got it just going to the emergency room at one of the hospitals, taking someone there for an issue completely unrelated to Corona. And then he developed it, and he sadly passed away yesterday. So yeah, it's hitting us.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I think one of the best parts of the show every day is when we check in with you and other people and hear what's going on the front line. And just, friends, isolate. Please follow the instructions. Do everything you can. We're going to continue to give you ways to communicate with your friends and neighbors here in the community, but do all that you can to isolate. And before we go, it's probably an appropriate time to do this one more time. I thought I would end up the broadcast today in a somewhat lighthearted way. We recorded a song a couple of weeks, well, not a couple of weeks ago. It was last week. Or was it even? Yeah, it was last week. Right. We recorded a song with Michelle Conselmo, and I was over there. I was going to do it with her and her husband in West Bloomfield here. And then, I don't know, it just seemed like it would be the fun thing to do it myself. So here is a little ditty that we wrote. Everyone's doing parody songs around the coronavirus. So this is our crazy song.
They say we all must shelter in, but they don't know where we've all been.
Now I know just what to do. I'll test you and you can test me too.
Babe, I'll swab you, babe. I'll swab you, babe.
I got a Q-tip right here in my hand, up your nose. Now that's the plan. Ow.
And then we'll know if it is true. No virus here. It's only a chew. So put your little hand in mine. All we need is just a slice of lime.
Well, we got Corona, that is true. But just the fear, thank God, it's just the flu. We just got the flu, thank you.
Babe, I'll swab you, babe. I'll swab you, babe.
I'll swab you, babe. We have to do it in an abundance of caution. We've got to flatten the curve. We know it's going to get better. It's going to get better in West Bloomfield, Eagle Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Oakland County, all across Michigan, all across America. We're not going to be worried about any coronavirus. We're going to be drinking Coronas this summer. It's going to be a great summer, and it's all going to be okay. Just stay cool. We're good. It's all right. It's fine.
All right. Well, a little silly, but there you go. I'll swab you, babe. Actually, kind of timely, Tyler, with more of the self-testing thing coming about and more testing out there. It's that's our little contribution to the tons of songs and craziness that is out on the web right now. So, thank you very much for listening to the Megacast today. We'll be back again tomorrow live. We will continue to rebroadcast this throughout the day, and it's all, of course, on all of our online assets. A big thank you to Debbie Binder, the West Bloomfield Township Clerk, our Facebook partners today, and putting our show on there. Civic Center TV, Channel 19, Channel 15 and Channel 99 on AT&T. Of course, CivicCenterTV.com. You can watch this show archived throughout the day. We'll have it there along with tons of links and useful coronavirus information that is local to our communities. We invite you to go there. And a huge thanks to our radio stations, 88.1 The Biff, and of course, our little old radio station right here, 89.3 Lakes FM. That's a Megacast for today. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks to the whole team. We'll see you tomorrow.